Welcome back to the Nine Sports Podcast Hockey Edition. I am your host, Maya Smith. The Olympics are over. I am in mourning because I can no longer just watch hockey at my desk all day. Canada lost both hockey gold medals. There's a lot of sad Canadians this week. I'm joined by my fellow sad Canadian, Alyssa. How is it going?
Depressed. Still gutted. I think yeah, like they lost both men's and women's, but like the women's loss, like it hurt more than I thought it was going to,
Me
which I
too.
think is why it hurts so much. And like
Yeah,
I keep telling people, I'm like, they gave me hope. Like
they
they
did.
they gave me hope. I was going into that being like, we're gonna get kicked. Like we're gonna get like spat on and like just destroyed. Like I was like, it's probably like 4-1, 3-1 game maybe, but it's
Mhm.
not gonna be close. And they gave me hope, and I'm still quite crushed. And then all this fallout from men not knowing how to have a spine is not helping either. But I'm crushed. Yeah, it was really, really heartbreaking, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And we have plenty of that coming in the show to talk about. And we will say nice things about Team USA women because they
Oh,
do
I
deserve
have
it. They had a great tournament.
nothing but positive things to say about that team. Like I could hear them sing the Star Spangled Banner. I don't even
Better.
know the name of it, but I could hear them and watch them sing it. I couldn't for their male counterparts. I had to put my headphones in and
Yeah.
go empty the dishwasher instead. Um, but yeah, I have
Yeah.
nothing but good things to say about that women's team because wow, what a journey, what a freaking tournament. We just amazing stuff.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Let's get started with the number one at the nine so we can jump in here. So, this week's number one at the nine, your top headline of the week is, of course, the U.S. women win gold in Milan. Canada gets silver, and Switzerland wins bronze. So Switzerland defeated Sweden 2-1 in the bronze medal game, with Alina Mueller scoring the overtime winner like she did the last time these two teams played in 2014 when she was just 15 years old. If you haven't watched the goal from this year's tournament, go watch it. It is brilliant. Following that game, the U.S. played Canada for gold in a game that, as Alyssa was just saying, many of us predicted would be a disaster. Canada actually had a great game, and they led 1-0 until just over 2 minutes left in the third when Hilary Knight tied it. And then just 4 minutes into overtime, Megan Keller took a great pass from Taylor Heisey, beat Claire Thompson and Debian, and won the game for the US. There's a lot to say about the Sweden Switzerland game, especially goaltending wise, but we only have 30 minutes and we have a lot to talk about for Canada and the US. So, Alyssa, were you surprised by the ending? We've already discussed kind of how you felt after, but what do you think for Canada and
The
the
ending
US?
of Canada US. Not surprised by the outcome. Surprised by the journey to get to the outcome in a sense of starting like the start of gold medal game versus the end of it. Um, Man, that USA team, best USA team I've ever seen. And then even then, like when I didn't watch, and I was like the first Olympics were the year I was born, so like I obviously didn't watch that, and
Yes.
I don't remember 2000 like two, but like or even 2006, but like paper wise, skill wise, like best USA hockey team ever created, and I think it's really cool that it's a bit of a youth movement, but it's also you look at who scored the two goals in that gold medal game, Hilary Knight with a gorgeous tip in goal from a shot from Layla Edwards. And I don't know if it was last year's Worlds or the year before, but during a game, USA versus Canada, and I believe it was a gold medal game at a Worlds, that exact goal happened. It wasn't, I don't think it was a Layla Edwards shot. It could have been. I haven't looked back to see, but I know I like remember it. That exact goal happened. Hilary Knight parked out front, in between the legs, tip, beats Davian over the pad. Like that exact goal happens, and so I think it's a really cool story of like like the passing of the torch, but also like Hillary gets her moment as well. Like, um, not surprised USA won. Surprised at how they won in a sense of Team Canada looked the best they've looked since 2 or 3 years. Like I
Yeah.
haven't seen them with that much fight. I haven't seen them even just like puck movement. I haven't seen them block shots like that in years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not shocked by the players that are putting their body on the line, but in a sense of like that wearing that Team Canada jersey and like it was so I said it off the top, but they gave me hope,
Yeah,
which was
and
the hardest
I
part.
think I think you and I were probably the ones talking about it. I think you were on this episode, but we were basically saying like there is a possibility that the youth movement for the US does not work
Yep.
because they are not used to this like stage. And for the
Mm-hmm.
entire tournament that was not the case. Like I was working on my Canada recap, and I believe Caroline Harvey and Layla Edwards were the top scorers in the entire tournament. So they
Yeah.
showed up absolutely. But in the
And
gold
Layla
medal
getting, or not
game,
Layla, sorry, KK getting MVP
the
as well as
MVP,
as a
yeah,
defender is insane.
very well deserved. But
Yeah,
in the gold medal game, I think we saw what the veteran presence from Canada brought until that last 2 minutes. Like they
100%.
were using that experience on the world stage to carry that game. And then,
Yep.
even so, like as you said, it was two veteran players who scored the 2 goals for the US as well. So there
Yep.
were a few cracks in the armor, but I mean, they won every single game of the tournament. They let in 2 goals. Like, what?
Like that's
Like,
insane. It's
they are
insane,
the ones
man.
that should be taking that medal home,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but they are.
100%. And like as
Mhm.
we're both Canadian, like we all know that, but like 100%, like if Canada comes away with that, like I think back to that power play that got late in the third where they're up 1-0. I think it was what, like 5.5 minutes left. Pooh gets a chance right in the slot. And I went into that power play and I like turned to my girlfriend. I'm like, Pooh's got to get one. Like I was like, she's
Mhm.
got to get one here. Like this is the moment. And she wasn't out there for the first like bit of it. I think she had just come off the ice, so like she wasn't out there for like on the first unit per se. And then she went out there for the, like the back half of it, and she was parked right there. And I think Frankel got a piece of it, or she missed the net or something, and it went out of play. And I didn't say it out loud because I don't want to. I don't tend. I'm so superstitious when I watch and
Mhm.
consume or play hockey myself. But like, I didn't want to say it out loud and put it into the universe. But I said to myself, that was it, and that was when I knew that USA was going to tie it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it seemed pretty inevitable, especially
Yeah.
once they pulled their goalie. I think I
Mm-hmm.
looked over to my dad and I was like, they might be able to take this American team 5-on-5, but they're not going
Yep.
to be able to take them 6-on-5. That's
No,
just
and then also I was
yeah.
terrified for overtime because the speed.
Mhm.
Also, I'm gonna say like you could tell both those teams, like, and more Canada than anything, were gripping their sticks a little bit too hard. Like it probably was the sloppiest 3-on-3 overtime I've seen in a women's hockey game, and gosh, I don't like. And we've only really had 3-on-3 in women's hockey
Mhm.
professional wise since the start of the PWHL, but like it was not pretty hockey in that overtime. And I said to myself again, didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm like, if this goes to overtime, like if they tie this
Yeah.
and it goes to overtime, like I don't have the trust in this Canada like group speed wise because it's a
Mhm.
possession game and it's a speed game once there's all that ice. And yeah, like it just seemed inevitable if they weren't going to get that second goal. And Hillary
Yeah.
Knight breaking my heart one last time. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And she keeps being like, "Maybe I'll come back." And I'm like, "You
Girl,
got your goal.
no. Stay
We're
home.
done."
You've
But
broken my heart enough.
exactly. I think also it's interesting what you say about the 3-on-3. I got into a little bit of an argument on our favorite platform X when a man told me that Claire Thompson is hated across all of Canada because of that overtime goal. And what I said to him after I said, well, she's a world championship, she has an Olympic gold medal, she went to med school, she made the Olympic team, and now she has an Olympic silver medal and a Walter Cup championship, was that every single player on the ice in a Canadian jersey would have done something different if they had the chance in that overtime
100%.
play. But it was a
Also,
great play by great players, and that's what happens.
yeah. Also, Claire Thompson, I'm pretty sure, broke the record for most points by a defender at a single Olympic tournament back in
The
2022.
last
Like,
one. Yeah.
yeah, like it's not like
These
okay,
are
like yeah,
all
like
elite players,
yeah, and
and
sure she's
nobody
getting
hates it.
she's getting plastered with those photos. Like if I was American, like I would be printing off that photo of Keller walking her, and like poor
There's a
Claire's like
shirt.
her hands over her I'd be wearing that right now. Like I would have gone to like a printing place and had it like printed that day. Like I would have relished in that. But like, mind you, that's Claire Thompson. Like it no, and no one thinks that. Like that's just a loser
Yeah.
just being a loser. But like there are people who have that mindset of like, like, oh, like, that was just such poor play. I'm like, this is the biggest game of their lives. Like they're as bound for mistakes. Also, the team they're playing is the greatest USA hockey team ever created. Like we needed a miracle. Like we really did. Like, and I go back. I keep going back to that Poulin chance in the slot on that power play because that was it. Like that was literally the moment. Like talk about she gets hurt against Czechia, and like the team already looked like they weren't themselves, and then it just gets worse from there, and then she comes back and it's still not great, but like that would have been it, and it didn't happen, and I was like,
yeah, I know. So it's somebody
like
else who's gonna get to have
if,
that moment.
exactly, if Daryl Watts has an extra step on that breakaway where Abby Murphy, oh my god, what a back check. Like, and also if people think that's a penalty, I just it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Like there were so many other things in that game and in the tournament where you could have called a penalty and that was not it. But like Daryl has an extra like half step. That game might be over a minute and a half into the overtime. Like it's 3-on-3 hockey. It's a game of literal possession and speed, and Canada struggled with both of those things this year.
For the entire tournament.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about coaching now. And I wrote my notes for this and we discussed kind of what we wanted to talk about. Before, I did see a tweet today from a guy who works for the Hockey News and he covers the Toronto Scepters. And he said Troy Ryan acknowledged in his press conference today with the Scepters that he agrees that there needs to be a coaching change and he believes that Hockey Canada is already doing that. So that is a caveat that we're putting here. But
yeah, I think I think it started. I think if he's coming out to say that in his first availability after losing the gold medal game, and like there's a lot of scrutiny and criticism against him and his coaching. Like to me, and I don't know this, but like to me that reads as it's already happening, which it should be. You look at his resume. Exactly. You look at his resume and it's like, okay, but like, yeah, he won this and he won that. And I'm like, okay, look at that 2022 women's Olympic Canadian roster. I could lead them to gold. Oh my god, like I just said about Claire Thompson. Claire Thompson broke a record. Sarah Nurse set a record. I'm pretty sure Brian Jenner set a record. You're having all of those players in the prime of their career with some of the best goalies in the world. And again, like you have Jocelyn Larocque, who's 4 years younger. You have Renata Fast, who's like early in her career. Like I would lead them to gold.
Pre-injury Natalie Spooner.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I think Troy Ryan, like whatever's happening in Toronto is also a big testament to what's happening with Team Canada. Like there's a miscommunication there. I don't know what it is. Obviously, I'm not in the locker room. I'm not on the beat daily with them either. Like I'm not there. I'm not at practices, but there's some disconnect there. And I just think from the Canadian perspective, like I think a new voice is beyond needed.
I agree. And possibly also in the GM role, I think you and I have both independently been having these thoughts, but we saw the US, their coach, John Wroblewski, he does not coach in the PWHL. And we've both been thinking about how there is a need for an independent coach and GM, or at least from different PWHL teams, to be involved who are not involved in the PWHL. Because what we did see a lot in this tournament is both Gina Kingsbury, who is the GM, she's also the Scepters GM, and Troy Ryan is also the Scepters coach. A lot of Scepters players were given far too much ice time for their caliber of play in this tournament. I think it did them in both in roster design and in line management. And I think it's time to see somebody else who is not involved in the PWHL. And I think you agree.
Yeah, 100%. And like I just you mentioned John. Like I have so much respect and like admiration for that man, and like I joke when I'm watching as a fan and stuff about like how like he's the way he looks. Like I just like he always has the perfect hair and like he had the coolest jackets this past Olympics too, which
Mhm.
was just so cool. But like from a hockey fan perspective, like and just like a fan of the craft of a game, like I think about when he's joined the team and the turnaround since, like what a moment for him. And you can tell the players love that guy. You can
Mhm.
tell they love playing for him. They love going to battle. Like they love doing what's needed to win. And like to me, that hasn't been a thing for Canada. And like I also just looked up like who's the GM of Team
Yeah, I
USA,
was
and
gonna ask you. Yeah.
it's Katie Million, and
Mm.
no connection in the PWHL. Has history, you know, in college hockey and all that, but like her main job is the senior women's hockey team. And my opinion is I think Team Canada and Hockey Canada needs to go that route, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's a money issue. You know, like Sport
Yeah.
Canada is a disaster, and there's so many stories that have come out and from the Olympics and after the Olympics about how bobsled teams had to buy old
Mhm.
bobsleds from Team Germany and like all this stuff. And like I think it's just a mess. But hockey is Canada, and Canada is hockey. And
Mhm.
if you're not putting what's best out there for these women who are doing all they can, what's the point here? Like, what are we doing? And I think um, you'd probably see a shift at the Scepters level too, of like, you know,
Mhm.
this man doesn't have to worry about coaching two of the best, like, well known women's hockey teams in the world. Like, he's able to just focus on one. And I definitely think there's an opportunity there. I don't know who it is. Like, I'll be honest. Like,
No, I don't either.
women's
Mhm.
hockey is weird where everyone knows everyone, but everyone also kind of works for everyone too. Like, it's a weird thing, but like, so I don't know who's available. I don't know what that looks like, but I definitely think that needs to happen. Like, I just, these players are too good. People keep talking about the youth movement and Team USA. Like, hey, like we have that too. It's just not talked about or showcased because of reasons like this. Like it's
Mhm.
not as like evident and you know, again, like talked about at the senior level, but like they have all this talent that's coming up. And you look at Kristen O'Neill, you look at Gosling, like you look at there's like Gardeners of the world, like it's all there, but the landscape they have it at right now, I don't trust it. Like I don't trust them to handle
Mhm.
that because Kristen O'Neill scores the only goal in the gold medal game and gets 5 minutes of ice time.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and
I don't.
we've seen instances too where players don't get a look at the national team until they start playing for the Scepters. Daryl Watts had a fantastic tournament. This is her first Olympics. She's only been on the
It's
national team since
insane.
she joined the Scepters. And then
I
we
think
also
it's
see
insane.
players leave the Scepters and lose their shot. So from a strictly like conflict of interest perspective, it needs to change, but also makes their lives easier. And having a coach who coaches in the NCAA also allows you to have those relationships with the younger players, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Kristen Campbell and this week, and we'll hear a little bit from her at the end, but she played literally. She was a redshirt freshman for Brian Idalski at the university that she started out in. Their program folded. She plays for him now, and she has nothing but respect for him and only good stories of being coached by him. And I think like that relationship is really key. If we can get people who have those
100%.
relationships with the younger players, they will have more success.
Couldn't agree more. Like, yeah, again, I couldn't agree more. I have nothing against Troy and
No,
Gina. Like, I think they both are fantastic at their jobs, but like to have the expectation for them to carry that weight of like both teams, like I just think it's unfair
so much.
for everyone. And like honestly, it's the players too. Like, I think like that game against Switzerland, like the semifinal
Mhm.
game, like one puck goes another way, Canada's playing for a bronze.
Yeah,
Can
and
you imagine the
I
turmoil
wanted
in this
to
country?
I know. I wanted to
Like it
bring that
happened at
up
the Worlds,
too.
what, back before COVID, when Finland
Mhm.
actually should have technically won the gold, but nobody still talks about that for some reason. But like it happened that year where Canada lost. It was a mess, but that was also injuries. Pooh was injured. It was like a
Mhm.
weird thing, but like that was the Worlds and it was turmoil. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I don't want to think about it, but
Yeah.
this is where before we move on to talking about the PWHL, there is a lot of blame or discussion that can be had about the coaching and the roster management. I think there is some level where I didn't feel that this team Canada until the gold medal game had the drive and the desire to win gold. Um in the game against Switzerland that you were just talking about, Poulin, who has been injured and missed a bunch of games, is the only player who scores. She scores twice, and then she takes a penalty, and she's in the box, and the Swiss player does literally the same thing that she did and doesn't get a penalty, and she is losing her mind in the box. And there was not a single player on Team Canada that had any reaction to that. If you put me out there on the ice and my captain and that person specifically, Marie-Philippe Poulin, was reacting that way and that didn't get me riled up, that is an issue that needs to be
100%.
addressed.
There was another clip too that I don't remember which game it was from because I watched so much Olympics, not just hockey, but I literally have consumed. I'm like, the reason I'm also depressed is because I miss Olympics on my TVs. Like I just miss it so much. But there was a clip, like there was a moment in a Canada game. It's one of the games Pooh wasn't playing in. But it wasn't the USA game. Regardless, doesn't matter. I was like looking at it and I was like, Troy is on the bench and he's never really like a big time yeller or like vocal coach, and he never has been. Even when they were winning, he never has been. But I'm like watching this and like he's so reserved and quiet. And then there's Corey Chevrolet, who is like fired up. She is fired up and ready to kill someone. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'd jump through a window if she asked me to right now. Like I that's like, and like again, Troy has never been that, and like not expecting this man to change. But like I was like, there's no drive, like there's no there's no fight in these players. And it was so weird to watch because I just I've never seen that from a Team Canada before at the women's level. Like I've never seen it at the Olympics, let alone at any level with the women's, but especially the Olympics. I've never seen it in my lifetime, and it was very odd.
I agree.
Yeah, it was just and I don't blame the players. Like I really don't. Like I think the roster, obviously, I think there was players left off, or even like like management within the players that they did bring that I think could have improved. But like at the end of the day, the roster's the roster. But I don't think it's them. I just thought it was like an entire collective vibe. Like it was so weird. It was just like, and I know those players want to win. Like I know that this is what they want. Like but it was just weird. Like and like you said, like Pooh's in the box, like literally about to lose her absolute mind on one leg, mind you. And like nobody else. It was just so weird. But the gold medal game was so different.
It was.
It was just a weird tournament for Team Canada. Again, just odd things I've never seen before in my lifetime.
Truly. Well, hopefully this impending change will be helpful.
Hopefully.
We do get the PWHL back this week.
Thank God.
We talked I did a huge breakdown a few episodes ago about the standings, but we're just gonna touch quickly on like one thing that each team needs to do going forward. We've heard from Reed and we also heard from Sylvia recently, who covered Minnesota and Seattle. So we won't talk too much about those teams, but let's start with Boston. Top team in the league coming into the second half of the season. My thing that they need to do is just continue to do what they have been doing. Continue to get the goaltending, continue to get the scoring, continue to have strong rookies, all of those things. What do you think?
Couldn't agree more. I think I'm going to say this almost for every team too. I think health is going to play a huge factor. But like Aaron Frankel, like, like literally put on a performance of a generation in Milan, like just insane. But I think keep this. Like I've really liked their play, like both ends of the ice. Like I think you don't change much personally. You just keep going and you stay healthy, and that's not much to say there. I think if they could be consistent like they have been, they'll be fine.
I agree. Okay, jumping over Minnesota, go listen to the episode with Reed a few episodes ago to talk about that.
Reed.
Reed is the best.
Great.
Speaking of staying healthy, Montreal, we're pretty much expecting Poulin, at least possibly Ambrose, to be put on injured reserve tomorrow, I guess. For me, it's that they need to lean on their secondary scoring. If Poulin is injured, you cannot count on her to score every single goal. So somebody else needs to start stepping up, and they need to do it quickly.
Yeah, I think secondary scoring is huge. And I also look at their special teams because, like, when you do get a chance to, get on the power play and you do have your best players out there, you need to execute. You need to use that to your advantage. But yeah, secondary scoring's always been an issue there since the
And special
first
teams
season
too.
in league, and special teams. So I think special teams for me, and then I'm also curious to see what Debian looks like because she was fantastic in that gold medal game.
I agree.
So I'm curious to see whether she takes that. Like, is that a stepping stone? Is that a momentum thing? Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. New York. So I kind of think we get to this point every season with New York where they've been playing quite well, and then all of a sudden they just don't do that anymore. So my key is that if they do start to kind of fall off, they need to like put those losses aside and remember that they know how to win before they lose so many games that they end up out of a playoff spot again.
100%. And I think it starts and ends with Fillier because she had a great tournament. I thought she was wonderful in Milan, which she's one of the best players in the world. She should be. But yeah, I think consistency is a big one there. And then also spreading out the offense a little bit too, which I think they've done a really good job at all season, but continuing that is a big one for me.
Totally. Ottawa, they need to play with more urgency. They are so like streaky. They get really hot and then they get really cold. So I think if they can remember that like every game in this league counts, they need to play their best every single game. That will be helpful to them.
Yeah, I think a home ice advantage is a big one for me for them too. It's like that's a tough building to play in, and you need to continue that throughout this back half of the season. Of like, people should hate to come into TD Place. Like, people should hate to come into Ottawa. And Gwyneth Phillips also put on a freaking masterclass in Milan in the games. I think she got into 2 that she played. So continuing that and just leaning on her.
Absolutely. Toronto, score goals, please.
Anything.
Score goals.
Anything. Like, I think Toronto's such a mess. Like, there's no world where you have Daryl Watts on your team and you're struggling to score. Like, and she can't be the only one doing it. Like, it's just not ideal. Score goals and also like special teams, both power play and penalty kill. Like, there's a lot. It's a mess there right now. I don't know what's going on.
Right before the break, they were in Vancouver and they lost quite badly. And obviously they were upset that they lost, but I think there's just something there that's not working. Like, just the way that the press conference was after the game.
Weird.
Just
hopefully the break was
down.
helpful. No, maybe hopefully the break was helpful. You step away. You're still skating if you're not in Italy at the Olympics, and like you still have that connection with your teammates, but you're not competing every single night, and like hopefully the break was helpful and they bounce back because God, they need it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Sylvia was on last week and we talked a little bit about Seattle, so definitely go listen to that one. And then I did talk to Kristen Campbell this week about Vancouver, so I'm going to let you hear from her directly what she thinks they need to do for the second half of the season. So let's hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I think honestly at home we've been really successful. I mean, this league's so hard. You got to find a way to win on the road because those points matter a lot. But I think for us, just playing a consistent game and being able to string together 3 periods, I feel like we've had flashes of brilliance even throughout our struggles at the start of the year. But I really think that we can up the consistency part where we're showing up and playing with our team identity through 3 periods, night in, night out. And whether that's at home or on the road, doesn't matter. So I think that that's going to be key for us heading in the second half so that we can get as many points as possible and secure a playoff spot.
Shockingly or not, she's absolutely correct. That is exactly what I would say.
So true.
Yeah, she definitely knows what's going on, and there are lots of home games coming up, so fingers crossed for them for that. Okay, let's finish off with top shelf predictions. So last week, Sylvia and I picked our medal winners, and she got all 3 correct. Kudos to her. I only got 2 because I thought Sweden was going to win bronze. So thanks, Sweden. What is your top shelf prediction for the first week of the second half of the season?
Seattle goes on an absolute heater.
Awesome.
Hillary Knight's fired up to be alive right now. She just got engaged to the love of her life, her Olympian fiance. Okay, brag.
Flex.
She just rode off into the sunset Olympic wise. She scored the tying goal. She's proud to be herself and win gold. And I think Seattle and Carpenter as well, and Bilka was unreal. I think they're gonna go on a heater.
I love it. They really need one. So
yeah,
that's great. Next week, we'll check in on that. But thank you for listening, everybody. Please continue to support the Ice Garden, even now that the Olympics are over. There are some really exciting things coming for the rest of the season. NCAA playoffs are right now. We'll have an episode on that this month. There's a lot going on. So definitely hit subscribe, both here on the podcast and on the website. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, Alyssa.
Thank you.